This is Lisa from MobileTechReview, and this is the 2024 edition of the Samsung Galaxy Book with 360-degree hinges and Pro in its name. What does that mean? The Samsung Galaxy Book 4 Pro 360. Got it? Yep. So obviously it replaces the Book 3 Pro 360 that we reviewed last year, and it's their higher end. There is a non-Pro model of it that's 15.6 inches versus this one that's 16 inches, and that one has a U-series processor, whereas this one has the 28-watt Intel Core Ultra 7 28-watt H-series processor inside. It's a little more powerful, higher resolution OLED display. On the outside, this looks the same as last year's model, but there's some significant improvements inside that we're going to look at now. So obviously the claim to fame for this laptop, there's a few of them. One of them is how thin it is. Okay, I mean, thin Ultrabooks are a thing. They've been around for a while, but Samsung still manages to have one of the thinnest. And it's light too, 3.66 pounds, which is about 1.66 kilograms. So nice, premium aluminum alloy construction. It comes in this, I think they call it moon gray or something like that. I don't know. Everybody has a name for silver and gray and all that sort of thing. It's a nice looking piece. It also hasn't really changed materially from last year's, and that can be okay. I mean, look at Apple rolls with the same MacBook design for years. Razer does with the Blade. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Spectre's from HP, they do evolve a little bit as they perfect that kind of diamond cut design and change a few things here. But I'll talk about stasis and this product in a bit. First, what's not so static is the fact that we have the latest Intel 14th generation Meteor Lake CPUs inside, which is a good thing. Performance increases on these, battery efficiency increases on these, and integrated graphics, we have Intel Arc integrated graphics here, is a noticeable jump up, rivaling AMD Radeon 780M integrated graphics for performance. For those of you who are doing some photo editing, a little video editing, and you want to play some games, I mean, you know, not so much Cyberpunk 2077, but some more easygoing games doable at lower resolutions on this. That said, the display on this is awful nice. It's an OLED. It's 2.8K, but Samsung rounds it up to 3K. 16:10 aspect ratio display, or AMOLED, as Samsung likes to call it. AMOLED 2X is their marketing speak for this. What does it mean? It's a really nice OLED display. It's gorgeous, and you have 360-degree hinges on this, so you can use it as a tablet for drawing or tent mode, presentation, whatever you want. And as ever, one of the selling points of this is the Samsung S Pen that's included in the box. That can also, if you happen to have a Galaxy phone, like a Galaxy S24 Ultra that we're showing here, you can swap between the phone and the laptop. Same technology, it's EMR, and it's one of the nicest pen experiences. It's up there with the Apple Pencil. Is it Wacom Cintiq Pro level good? No, not quite, but for something that's integrated into a laptop, it still beats Microsoft Pen Protocol, which is used in Microsoft Surface products and some other competing, like that HP Spectre X360 14-inch we recently reviewed as well. So that's a nice selling point still there, and the OLED display is very color accurate. So for those of you who are using this for content creation, that's important. You don't have crazy blown out colors, and what looks awesome to you looks not so good on everybody else's screen. You know, you get the idea. So that's nice. The other improvement here is battery life. Mostly thanks to, no doubt, Samsung keeps optimizing it, but also Intel's Meteor Lake is just more efficient, and it has run times that are about 25% longer than the previous generation. That's nothing to sneeze at here. Battery capacity hasn't changed or anything else, so it's just better, more efficient. Heat is also well controlled on this. It's an H-series 28-watt CPU, so we don't expect it to be burning hot, but something this thin, it's potentially possible. And some Samsung Galaxy books have had a lot of fan going on here, and this one's not so bad. It still does run the fan a bit more than we hear from your average Ultrabook. It's not loud, it's not like, you know, a gaming laptop or something like that, but when you expect most of the time near silence with this one, you will hear it. And the good news is, again, not too loud, but no more than warm to the touch. I would call that cool for a laptop. Even if it's working hard, I'm doing Photoshop, I'm doing a little Premiere on it, some of the creative stuff, and it's doing fine. In the United States, it comes with a 1 terabyte SSD, and that is an M2 SSD, so you can upgrade it yourself later if you want, and RAM is soldered on, which is par for the course for Ultrabooks for the past several years, so we can't really ding Samsung for that. It's part of making it so thin and light. The most commonly available one for consumers has 16 gigs of RAM. If you look at Samsung's business site, there is a 32 gig of RAM option, which adds like $200, not too horrible. And that also moves you up to Windows 11 Pro versus Windows 11 Home. So for those of you who are just dying to have more RAM, it does exist. But if you're looking at Best Buy or something like that, you're just going to see the consumer-facing model. You can get the laptop from your favorite retailer, of course, but also direct from Samsung. I might suggest that right now because, you know, Samsung, they throw in freebies and promos. So right now you can get a Samsung T7 Shield 2 terabyte SSD. This is an SSD I actually like to use with the iPhone for high-end video recording, but obviously it's a fast and rugged drive you can use with this laptop as well. While the specs on the display didn't change much, Samsung does use Gorilla Glass DX, so it's a bit less reflective, and it's effective too, which is nice. No mirror thing going on. Of course, it is a glossy touchscreen, so it's not like there's no reflections, but it's fairly effective, and I think most people will like it. The display is 120 Hertz, and it does a PWM, which pulse width modulation, for those who don't know, which means that OLED flicker that OLED displays have. And it is kind of low down at the 240 Hertz range. So those who are very sensitive to OLED flicker, make note of that. This one might give you some eye strain or eye tiredness. A lot of people don't feel it at all, but those who do feel it, it's for you that I'm mentioning this. Much as this is a lovely design and it has a large keyboard and an even larger trackpad, I'm not a fan of these super duper oversized trackpads. I'd like to know in the comments how you feel about it. There must be a reason why some manufacturers keep doing this. It's a traditional mechanical, not haptic trackpad. That's starting to feel a little old school. The keyboard, though it's tactile, is very low travel, which has always been the case, but other manufacturers have found a way to get around that whole thing that Apple kind of started with, the just about no travel keyboards. And I'd like to see Samsung find a way, even if they add a millimeter on. The thing is still so darn skinny. Who cares? You know, give me a millimeter more in thickness and give me some key travel because it just feels kind of weird. Also, we have a fingerprint scanner embedded in the power button. That's fine, it works okay. But there's still no Windows Hello IR camera. You have a 1080p webcam, that's okay, it's fine. But I mean, I know Windows Hello is not the most secure thing. It's not 3D facial recognition and all this sort of thing, but still, I think most consumers who don't have state secrets on their laptop would like to have that as well. In terms of software, oh my God, right? It used to be 10 years ago, Samsung had laptops that had no bloatware in an era when there was so much bloatware on Windows machines. And now we don't really have bloatware. It's not like third-party junk, but all of Samsung's apps, just like with the Samsung phone. If you're a Samsung phone fan, this is a laptop for you. And I think that's what Samsung has been going for here. Synergy, and they're thinking that maybe their phones are going to sell their laptops and all that sort of thing. So just about every app that you know that's on your Galaxy phone is here, including the Samsung Notes, which is a great app too. And they have Samsung Flow, which you can see me demoing right here, and that's pretty nice too. So you can see your phone screen on your laptop screen if you find that to be useful. You can share files back and forth easily, and you've got one thing that is nice, so, I mean, in a way, to me, this feels like a heck of a lot of bloat at this point, unless you really are just in love with your Samsung Galaxy S phone. But AI is a part of Intel's 14th generation Meteor Lake CPUs, and there hasn't been a lot for us to do with that yet, right? You got this neural processing unit. So because Samsung has already been incorporating AI features into the Galaxy S24 and retrofitting to the S23 line of phones, we have some of those apps here, like Photos. So if you want to do some photo AI retouching and stuff like that. So there are some benefits actually here that we see with this laptop that we haven't on other Meteor Lake laptops yet. So that part is nice with all Samsung software. I will mention that the 8kg quad stereo speakers, you got two 5-watt woofers and two 2-watt tweeters. Samsung used to have some of the best audio in the business. They're really going after Apple and the MacBook Air and the MacBook Pro there. And they're okay, they get plenty loud, but they're lacking a little in bass, and I think Samsung could stand to evolve those too. Also, they could stand to evolve the hinges. It's not that they break on this laptop, they historically have not, but they're looser than average. So for those of you who are riding in trains and stuff like that, you know, and the display starts doing that thing, a little more stiffness would be nice there. To get inside, it's not as bad as you might think. Why do I say that? Because the screws, which are just these teeny little Phillips head screws right here, 4 corners, are underneath the rubber feet. The rubber feet are pretty easy to get off. There's no real destruction of adhesive going on. If you have a pry tool like that, it's helpful to do that and to pry it up. screws are in there, you remove them, and then if you have a suction cup or otherwise some patience, you will work the little plastic clips off attached to this metal frame here to get the bottom cover off. First off, here's the ventilation here, pretty standard stuff for a laptop. This is what the underside looks like. And here are the internals. So here's our battery, obviously user serviceable down the road if you need to. Speaker drivers covered up right here. And we have our M.2 SSD, which is oddly made by Western Digital, not by Samsung. Right there, blends right into the motherboard color-wise, so you wouldn't see it's a very thin SSD. A thickie might not fit because this is such a thin design, so keep that in mind. Probably single-sided SSD is what you're going to be using on that. RAM is soldered on board, so is the Wi-Fi card, Intel Wi-Fi AX211. That's a Wi-Fi 6E with Bluetooth 5.3 on board, and a dual fan design, which we're seeing more often with Meteor Lake. Probably does help it to keep cool. So those are your internals. Lastly, battery life. 76 watt-hour battery, same as last year. You have a very compact 65 watt GAN charger, the same you could buy as an accessory for the S23 or S24 Ultra phones, and battery life is indeed better. 200 nits of brightness doing mix of productivity work. I was getting 9 hours, which for an OLED laptop with an okay battery capacity, but not an amazing one, that's really very good. So yay, that's one of the selling points. The battery life, the S Pen, the very nice 360-degree OLED display, and good looks are the reasons why you would consider this, along with the synergy that you've got with Galaxy phones if you're a Galaxy phone or even a Galaxy tablet person. The caveats, I think, at this point, are some design things that should change, including more keyboard travel. Maybe a kind of smaller trackpad at this point would be nice, and stiffer hinges. Price is competitive. It's around the same price as a 16-inch HP Spectre X360 with Intel Arc graphics as well. So yes, there's a premium price here going for around $1,900, but it's also par for the course with competitors. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.